All right, here we go now with, there's, of course, where are we there? It's Texas again with the White Sox. We got a lot big game there for Scherzer today, and that brings us to Mr. Costas, the great Bob, one of the all-timers, and he says hello with us here on this early morning here on Thursday. All right, Bob, let's do the Mets, and great to have you with us as always. Let's do the Mets. Two things, two-pronged. A, are you shocked about this incredible pivot that they've made, you know, going from let's try to win a championship every year to what we'll see in 2025? That's one. And then two, the idea that you can buy Verlander and Scherzer, spend a fortune, and then if it doesn't work out, you can basically ship them off and spend $50-60 million and buy the other team's best prospects, because that's exactly what they did with Texas and Houston. Very strange, and I don't think it's great for the sport. Let me hear your two thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm shocked. Let's save that for when Martians land in Des Moines or something like that. But I would say I'm strongly surprised, and to the point that, okay, Steve Cohen can afford to go beyond the luxury tax to an extent that exceeds some teams' payrolls, and now he can afford to eat huge portions of Scherzer and Verlander's contracts. But the idea that that is in an equal exchange for prospects, Dan O'Dowd pretty much laid this out this week on MLBN. What a relatively small percentage of prospects, even prospects highly rated, turn out to be true impact players or even useful everyday major leaguers who have significant careers. And a large percentage of them never play a game in the major leagues. So the idea that there's another Verlander or there's another Scherzer lurking somewhere there. Now, in fairness to the Mets, they did get 2 of the top 15 Ranger prospects in the deal for Scherzer. I get that. But nonetheless, the idea that even by 2025, they'll be able to reconstitute a team that rivals the team that less than a year ago finished the season with 101 victories, that's pretty much of a stretch.
Yeah, very strange. I don't like the idea that you can almost do both things. Exceed the luxury tax. If it doesn't work out, go spend $100 million on prospects when you eat the contracts. That does bother me. All right, let's bring up the second aspect of this. Baltimore. Let's assume I had Bet Verlander on radio the other day, and he assured me that Justin would have agreed to go to the Orioles. Okay, that's what he said. Now, you could take that for what it's worth. Who knows? But let's go with that premise. If that is the case, do you think Baltimore, now they got Flaherty, but he's not Verlander. Do you think Baltimore, that's got all these prospects, that great baseball market, a place that you love, Camden Yards, a chance to finally win, haven't won in 40 years, a chance to win, they could have, A, prevented Verlander to go to a big opponent in Houston and bring Verlander in there. They got the prospects. It's only $40 million, and they could have had a chance to win a championship. Do you think the Orioles missed out on not making that kind of move? Let me hear your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Possibly. I don't know what it would have cost them within their farm system and how they evaluated those prospects. But if you can get Verlander, not only with due respect to Flaherty, who when healthy is a good pitcher, and he had pitched well in his most recent outings for the Cardinals, if you got a chance to get Verlander, not only does that improve your team to a greater extent, boy, it sends a jolt of excitement through an already excited clubhouse and an excited fan base. So, again, without knowing the particulars of the deal that might have been required to bring him there, that would be very tempting to me. Very, very tempting. Hard to pass up if it was a practical possibility.
I always say this. I throw a little curveball at you. I always say this. I know the sign stealing. You want to sit there and put a big blemish on it, go right ahead. That's a long time ago now. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Houston and Atlanta are the 2 best franchises in the sport. I mean, look what Crane did. He let the Mets pay for Verlander, basically half the contract, and he gets him back anyway. He doesn't miss a beat. And Atlanta, 2 years ago, they won it all, making all these crazy trades. They trade Freeman, they don't miss a beat. They got all these pitchers coming out of the minor leagues. The guy's an incredibly good GM, and they have 35 games over 500, and they're more powerful than a 61 Yankees, your boyhood team. How about those 2 franchises? Let me hear your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
I got a couple of points to make here, so bear with me. The point about the Astros and 2017 and whatever happened beyond, I get that fan bases, or at least a portion of them, are often irrational. They hear what they want to hear. Last October, after the Astros swept the Yankees in the LCS, I was hosting a post on TBS. And I said, look, these guys have been in the LCS 6 straight years, and in the World Series now 4 out of those 6. for resentful fan bases outside the Astros to keep bringing up 2017 is like football fans who resent Tom Brady and Bill Belichick trying to attribute everything to inflated footballs or deflated footballs and Spygate. It just doesn't make sense. Look at what the Astros do, and they can't bang on trash cans anymore. Somehow people hear whatever they want to hear. It's just like every national broadcaster will tell you that the fans of both teams hear the same words and perceive that you're rooting against their team. Meanwhile, fans who aren't rooting for either team don't think a thing of it. So somehow in Houston, I was insulting their team by bringing this up. I was actually trying to say what you just said. And I think I said it in plain English. Yes, 2017 is part of history, but so too is the continued march of the Astros. They are just an extremely well-run franchise. The same is true of the Braves. And you mentioned in the earlier segment that the Yankees will play the Braves in less than 2 weeks. Here is a fact for Yankee fans. You can take the mystique of their history. You can take the mystique of the pinstripes. The Yankees have exactly one player. We're not talking about pitching here. We're not talking about Garrett Cole in a deep bullpen. The Yankees have one guy, Aaron Judge, who could crack the starting lineup of the Atlanta Braves.
Wow. Wow. That's an excellent point. You know, Stanton wouldn't make the. You're right. Maybe Stanton wouldn't crack that lineup.
No.
Always is better than Torres, and Olsen is better than Rizzo. That's a very, very fair point. I'm with you on that. All right, that is number 3. Now, speaking of the Yankees, Bob, let's spend a second on them. Cash was caught between a rock and a hard place. They're not out of it. They're the Yankees. You can't throw up the white flag, but by the same token, if Bellinger's not going to be available, what are you supposed to do at the deadline? A lot of people in New York going crazy that Cashman did 0 for a team that's only 3.5 out. I'm not too sure if you can kill him. Let me hear your take with that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure that they combed through every roster and made every phone call in terms of finding a left-handed bat, and Bellinger would have been a perfect fit. And only a couple of weeks ago, as the deadline was further away, but still kind of out there and people are talking about it, Bellinger seemed like a likely trade piece. It was just a one-year deal with the Cubs. But then the Cubs all of a sudden surge. And right now I think they're only 2 or 2.5 out of the third wild card. And how great would it be for baseball, just generally speaking, if there were postseason games at Wrigley Field? And Bellinger continues to rake. So they pull him back. They're all in to try and make the playoffs. I don't know. I haven't looked at every possibility, but I don't know that there was anything out there that Cashman could have grabbed to give him the kind of currently productive left-handed bat that the Yankees so desperately need. Judge has no protection in that lineup. Why would you ever pitch to him?
I don't understand it. Plus, he can't toe. I mean, let's be honest. That toe is still bad.
Yep.
Good job, Bob. You do a wonderful job. Great to have you with us here. Thanks again. Appreciate a few minutes.
All right, Doug. Great to see you.